Hello everyone, welcome again to another tutorial. So in today's video I want to show you how I make this beaded wine glass. It's very simple to make, everybody can make it. So let me quickly show you how I make it. And I'm going to use 10mm crystal bead. Okay, they are in 10mm. That's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use my 50-pound fishing line, and let's get started. So I'm going to start with 10 bead. Okay, I put 10 bead over here, so I'm going to put all these 10 bead on the line, just stringing it on the line. Take your time, you count your bead 10 to start with. So here's my 10 bead I put on the line. If you count, this is 10. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to tie this into a ring. I'm going to tie quickly to make a ring with all these 10 bead, like this. Then we have something like this, okay, like this. And we are going to go, I'm going to pull my line into the next bead. I'm going to go round into each bead and adding bead to it. Okay, so my left line, I add 4 bead. Okay, I add 4 bead to my left line to start with. Cross with the right line and pull. Now again, I'm going to pull my right line into the next bead, like this. Then my left, I add 3 bead to my left line. I'm crossing with the right line and pull. Now my right again into the next bead. I'm pulling my line through one bead, okay, not 2 bead but 1 bead. So on my left line, I add 3 bead. Cross with my right line and pull. Into the next bead again, I add 3 bead to my left line. This is 3, okay, 3 bead. Add 3 bead, cross with the right line and pull. This is how it's looking like. We are going to go to each bead and add 3 bead to it. Now I'm about to complete this. I'm going to go through the last bead and this one on the side. So I'm pulling my line through the last bead on the ring. Now into this bead again, okay? I'm going to pull my line through this bead. You see, my line is in 3 bead. This is where my line is, in this 3 bead over here, okay? 1 2 3. Now I add 2 bead to my left line to complete this step. Cross and pull. So now that we complete the second step, my right line into the next bead. Pull my line into the next bead. So now I have my line in 2 bead. My left line, I add 4 bead to start with. So this step we are starting with 4 bead. Cross and pull. Now I'm going to pull my right line again, this one into 2 bead, okay? Pull it through 2 bead. Now left line, I add 3 bead to my left line. Hold the last one, cross and pull. Now I'm going to pull my right line again into 2 bead. Going to go through 2 bead. And on my left line, I add 3 bead to my left line. Hold the last one, cross and pull. Like this. You see how it's looking like? You can see it's curving a little bit. And it's good. That is how it's supposed to look like, okay? Now into 2 bead again. Going to put my right line again into 2 bead. This is the first one. Now into the second one. I'm going to 2 bead over here, okay? Now I add 3 bead to my left line. I'm going to hold the last one again and cross with my right line and pull. Into 2 bead again. go into 2 bead. I add 3 bead to my left line, cross and pull. So this is how the shape is looking like, okay? Look at it. This is how the shape is looking like. You are going to go into 2 bead and add 3 bead to it. So go through round and add your bead. So I'm about to complete mine, and this is how it's looking like. I'm going to go pull my line through the 2 bead, okay? This is my last 2 bead. I'm going to pull my line through them. So I'm going to pull my line through these 2 and the one on the side. This one on the side over here, I'm going to pull my line through them. If you see, my line is in 4 bead, okay? This 4 bead, my line is in them, 4 bead. And now I need 2 bead to complete this step. I'm going to cross and pull like this. Now we're going to build on it. Again, we are going to build 3 times. This is how it's looking like so far. We've started something, looks like a cap. So here I just want to tie the first round, tie it over here to make it strong before we continue, okay? I'm just tying over here. Now what I'm going to do, this line, this is where my line is, okay? This is where my line is in between the beads over here. So I'm going to hold this one and pull into this bead. I'm pulling through this direction. And I'm going to hold the second line, this one, and pull into this bead. Pull through this direction, okay? This bead on the side. Now, if you see, my line is in 2 bead, okay? This is how it's looking like. My line is in 2 bead, 2 bead. Let's continue. This is how the shape is looking like. It's very beautiful. Now, my left line again, I add 4 bead to start this step. Now into 2 bead again. I'm pulling my right line into 2 bead. Now on my left line, I add 3 bead to it. The last one, cross with the right line and pull. Into 2 bead again, I add 3 bead to my left line, cross and pull. Into 2 bead again. So this step, we are pulling our line through 2 bead, okay, and adding 3 bead to it. I add 3 bead to my line, and I'm going to go into 2 bead and add 3 bead. Cross with your right line and pull. I'm going to repeat the same thing around the shape. I'm about to complete. I have my last 2. So I'm pulling my line through the last 2 bead and the one on the side. This one, okay? This one on the side, I pull my line through it. If you see, my line is in 4 bead, okay? I need 2 bead to complete this step. So I add 2 bead to my left line, cross and pull like this. This is how it's looking like. Into the next bead, I'm going to pull my line into the next bead. Okay, my line is in 2 bead. I start with 4 bead. So this is my last step for this shape, and I want the rim to look red. Okay, so I'm going to use red bead for the rim. And now into 2 bead again. I'm going to go into 2 bead. We are going to repeat the same thing and add 3 bead. Cross and pull. Now into the next 2 bead again. I'm going to pull my right line into 2 bead. I add 3 bead to my line. I'm going to cross and pull. So I'm going to go around this shape, repeating the same thing. Okay, we are going to go round. I'm going to go through over here. I'm just going to open and tie over here because my line is very short. I want to tie over here, weave the rest of the line into the bead before I trim it off, okay? So I'm going to weave, just weaving the rest of the line, making sure my line is secured in the bead before I trim it off. Couple of weave. Now, yeah, ensure your line is secured, it's not gonna untie. Okay, now I got a new line. I'm going to pull it into this bead. That is where we stop. I'm going to pull in first into this bead, and now I'm going to go into 2 bead again to continue my weaving. Now I pull my right line into 2 bead. I add 3 bead to my left line. Going to cross and pull. This is how it's looking like. We're going to go around repeating the same thing. 2 bead, go to 2 bead. I add 3 bead to my line. Into 2 bead again. You add 3 bead to your left line. So over here, I'm just going to continue to weave and complete this round, okay? So you to continue to do yours, and I'll meet you back here. I'm just going to 2 bead and adding my 3 bead to it. I'm going to complete the rim. This is how it's looking like. Very beautiful. The rim is looking red. So I'm pulling my line through the last 2 bead and the one on the side, and I'm just going to tie over here and complete this round. Very beautifully looking. I'm tying in between the bead over here, okay? I'm tying in between the bead like this. Pull and pull tight, and this is how it's looking like already. It's looking very beautiful. Now what I'm going to do again, I'm going to pull my line through all this red bead, okay? All the bead on the rim, I'm going to pull my line through all of them, every single one of them round. That is what I'm doing. Now I have them together. Over here I have them together, and I'm going to tie again because we don't want the space. The reason why I pull the line through it, I don't want space in between the bead and the rim. That is why I tie it. I pull it together and tie like this. Very beautiful. Now this line, I'm just going to weave it back into the bead before I trim it off. This is how it's looking like. Very, very beautiful. Now let's do the bottom. Let's do the bottom. We are going to start. I have my line over here. I'm going to put my line through 2 bead. Going to 2 bead. Put my line through 2 bead. Okay. And now I'm going to start with this 2 bead, okay? My line is in 2 bead. Then I start with 3 bead. I put 3 bead on my left line. Across the last one with my right line and pull. I'm going to pull my line again, my right line again into 2 bead. My right line into 2 bead. Into 2 bead. Now I add 2 bead to my left line. Cross and pull into 2 bead again. Pulling my line into 2 bead again. I add 2 bead to my left line. I'm going to pull into 2 bead again. So over here I'm pulling my line through 2 bead and not 1, okay? You have to take notice. I pull through 2 bead. I add 2 bead to my left line. Cross and pull. Now this is my last 2 bead. I'm going to pull my line through this 2 bead. I'm going to pull it through the last 2 bead. And the one on the side, okay? I pull it through the 2 bead. Now I'm going to pull through this one on the side. Now I need only 1 bead to complete this step. Cross and pull. So now again I'm going to work with the top bead. This is how it's looking like, okay? I'm going to work with, this is where my line is in 1 bead. Now I'm going to work with the top bead. I add 3 bead to start on my line to start. Now into the next bead. So here I'm going to put my line through 1 bead, the next bead, okay? This step into the next bead. Only 1 bead, alright? I add 2 bead to my left line. I cross with my right line and pull. Now into the next bead again, this one. I add 2 beads to my left line. I cross with my right line and pull. Now I'm going to go through the next bead. To the next bead. Two bead. Now I'm going to pull the last bead. This is the last bead over here, okay? I'm going to pull it through the last bead and this one over here. Pull it through. Now we need only 1 bead to complete this step. Like this. This is how it's looking like. We are going to work with the top bead again, okay? The top bead, round. Now my line is in 1 bead. I add 4 beads to start again. Into the next bead, I pull my line through 1 bead. I add 3 beads to my left line. Cross and pull. I'm going to go pull my line again into the next bead. Pull it through the next bead. I add 3 beads to my left line. Cross and pull. I'm going to go into the next bead. Pull line through the next bead. Add 3 beads to your left line. You cross with the right one and pull. Now I'm going to pull my line through the last bead over here. This is the last bead. Pull my line through and this one. I'm going to pull it through this bead over here. For the number of beads I need to complete this step, I need only 2 beads to complete this step. I'm going to tie the first round over here before we continue. And this is how it's looking like. This is how it's looking like. Now I'm going to hold my right line and put back into this bead, okay? Pull it back into this bead. Then we continue our weaving. Now my left line, I add 4 beads to start. Starting with 4 beads into the next bead. Now I add 3 beads to my left line. Okay, 3 beads. Going to cross with my right line and pull. I'm going to pull my line again into the next bead. So as you can see, I'm pulling my line through 1 bead and adding 3 beads to it, okay? Cross and pull. I'm going through 1 bead, round, and adding 3 beads to it. That's what we are going to do. This step over here, I'm just going to tie because my line is short. I'm tying over here, tie in between the bead and not on the bead. So tie and tie nice and neat, pull tight, and then weave the rest of the line into the bead, then trim it up. That's how we are going to repeat over here until we close this shape, okay? It's the same thing we are going to repeat. I'm about to complete mine. So now I'm on the last one. As you can see, my line is in 3 beads, okay? My line is in 3 beads. I need 2 beads to complete this step. I have 2 beads. I'm going to string on the line and then complete the steps. So over here too, I'm just going to tie. This is the last one. I tie and weave the rest of the line into the bead and then trim it off. That's what I'm going to do. And this is how it's looking like, okay? This is our glass, our beaded wine glass. This is how it's looking like. Very pretty, very beautiful, very easy, very simple to make. And now I'm going to pull this line through all this bead round, okay? I'm going round through the bead. The reason why is to make it tight and firm and nice, okay? Very nice and tight. Look at how beautiful it looks like. Very, very beautiful. So the rest of the line, I'm going to weave it back into the bead. Make sure it's well secured enough before I trim it off. Okay, now that I trim it off, look at how pretty it looks like. Your beaded home decor wine glass is complete. You can put stuff in it, use it to decorate your home, whatever you want to use it for. I thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, turn on your notifications for any new videos that I'll be uploading so you don't miss on it. Thank you for joining me again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.